Demonstrate how the brass is analyzed. Now this is the brass strip rolled, and you have to find out today what's the percentage of copper present in brass. Now as you know, brass is an alloy of copper and zinc. So copper content is around 60 to 65%, whereas zinc is around 35 to 40%. There are some impurities present also, they are less than 1%. Now to analyze copper present in brass, you have to take small pieces of brass. Now these are the small pieces of brass. You have to weigh it first, and after weighing it, transfer it to the beaker, 100 cc beaker, and you dissolve these brass pieces in nitric acid. Now here this is the nitric acid which is there, and you have to dissolve that brass in nitric acid, add few drops of nitric acid, and you can see here the brass is getting dissolved in nitric acid in fumes of nitrogen dioxide. Reddish brown color gas is formed, and you have to see that the brass is completely dissolved in nitric acid. If slightly more nitric acid is required, you can add it. So I want to add little more nitric acid because this is not enough. Add few more drops of nitric acid. So you have to handle this nitric acid carefully because it is a strong oxidizing acid. Wait for a few seconds, see that it completely gets dissolved in nitric acid. Now, already explained in theory how this brass reacts with the nitric acid to form copper nitrate as well as zinc nitrate. It contains mainly copper and zinc. And once it gets dissolved completely in nitric acid, you have to dilute it with distilled water. See that the bronze fumes which are formed here, they get disappeared totally, and then only you have to add distilled water. Now you can see the alloy solution is prepared. Brass gets dissolved completely in nitric acid, and you can get an alloy solution. And this alloy solution is carefully transferred to 250 cc volumetric flask with funnel and glass rod. You have to use glass rod and carefully transfer it to the volumetric flask like this. Already I have done it, prepared solution is there. It is diluted up to the mark. You can see here. Here is the mark. It is diluted up to the mark. And out of this, after dilution, you have to shake it well and pipette out 25 cc of this brass solution in a clean conical flask here. Already I have pipetted out 25 cc of brass solution in a conical flask. Now first step after pipetting out 25 cc of brass solution in the conical flask, the solution is highly acidic. You have to neutralize it first by addition of sodium bicarbonate. So I am going to add first sodium bicarbonate solution dropwise. You observe it carefully. The purpose of adding sodium bicarbonate is solution is highly acidic. You are trying to neutralize it. So that blue colored solution becomes slightly turbid. Add dropwise continuously and stir it well. So what is happening here, whatever excess of mineral acid is there, nitric acid, or you can say you are trying to neutralize it by addition of sodium bicarbonate. Now once you get a turbidity in the solution, that indicates what? Solution is neutralized and pH is more than 7. Continue this addition till you get a precipitate. I am adding dropwise, you have to add it carefully. See here now. The precipitate is formed. You can see the solution is not clear, whereas the brass solution is clear solution. Now here the solution is turbid, indicates what? Formation of cupric carbonate also, and pH is more than 7. Now once the solution is neutralized by addition of sodium bicarbonate, the next step is you have to dissolve the precipitate which is formed by addition of acetic acid. Now this is the acetic acid solution which is there in the beaker. The precipitate is there. Dissolve the precipitate by addition of acetic acid dropwise again. Now the purpose of adding acetic acid to acidify the solution and see that the pH is around 6. Now once you get the pH around 6, the solution again becomes clear and all the precipitate gets dissolved because it is acetic media. So once you get a clear solution, now to this conical flask where the solution is acidified again with the acetic acid, and the pH is maintained around 6. You have to add potassium iodide. Now you have to add 10 to 15 cc of 10% potassium iodide, and you have to transfer it carefully to the conical flask. I am going to add now 10 to 15 cc of 10% potassium iodide, and this is iodometric titration, so you require addition of potassium iodide. Now I added 10 cc, I am adding another 5 cc, and see that potassium iodide is added in one lot and shake it well. Now the solution turns reddish brown, indicates what? Formation of iodine. Whatever copper present in the solution as copper nitrate reacts with what? Potassium iodide to form cuprous iodide, and equivalent amount of iodine gets liberated. Now titrate the solution against sodium thiosulfate, which is taken in the burette. See here, this is the sodium thiosulfate solution which you have filled in the burette, and the normality of sodium thiosulfate solution is 0.025. We have used 0.025 ml sodium thiosulfate solution, and before addition of Ki, you have to see that the sodium thiosulfate solution is ready for analysis when it is filled in the burette. Now once you add Ki, you get a reddish brown colored solution because of formation of cuprous iodide and liberation of iodine. Titrate that against sodium thiosulfate. Now I am going to titrate against sodium thiosulfate, dropwise addition. Now what happens here? Iodine reacts with the sodium thiosulfate to form sodium tetrathionate. See here. Now when that reddish brown color of the solution turns light yellow, you have to stop the addition of sodium thiosulfate from the burette. Now this you have to continue dropwise, and this is a iodometric titration because iodine liberated is titrated against sodium thiosulfate. Now continue the titration till you get light yellow color, which indicates iodine concentration is less in the solution. So if you add starch before titration, so then iodine gets absorbed in the starch. So to avoid that, what you have to add? First sodium thiosulfate to the solution. When light yellow color you get, when iodine concentration is less, so then add starch as an indicator, which is used always in iodometric titration. Now I got the light yellow color. Once I get light yellow color indicates what? Iodine concentration is less in the solution. Now I am going to add starch. Now always in iodometric titrations, starch is used as an indicator. Add about 5 to 10 drops of starch as an indicator. So what is formed here? Starch iodide. Traces of iodine present in solution react with the starch to form starch iodide complex. And once you get that blue color, continue the titration against sodium thiosulfate. And when the blue color disappears, that indicates what? All the iodine has reacted with sodium thiosulfate solution. Now you can see the color is already almost disappeared. Just check it. Add 1 or 2 drops excess and see that the solution becomes milky white. That's the end point of the titration. From the volume of the sodium thiosulfate consumed in the titration, I started from initial level as a 0 and the final level is 10.5. From the volume of the sodium thiosulfate consumed in the titration and from the weight of the brass used for the preparing solution, brass solution, you can find out the amount of copper present in the brass. And you have to repeat this titration at least 3 times to get concurrent readings. So this is what, and this is how the analysis of copper in brass is done.